Jörgelt kívánok, hogy vagy, or jó napot kívánok, depending on where you're at. Probably most of you watching this, it's jó napot kívánok, but for me it's Jörgelt kívánok. You know, I was just heading out the door, and I saw the cupboard. I saw the cupboard there in the kitchen, and I opened it up to see if you were inside. That's good. And there you were, inside the cupboard. Oh, goodness gracious. Start of another day. I'm home alone, you see. Remember that movie with whatever his name was? Matthew McConaughey or whatever that little kid's name was, when he was left home all alone. You know, my one time my parents, or my dad, was it my dad? I think it was my dad, left me left me at home or something like that. I grew up in a big family, like there were 9 of us kids or something. At one time there were 9 kids, but as the family grew, you know, there were 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 kids, what have you. And back in the day, I remember back I remember back in the day when when my mom would have another one of us. Hmm. We would all go we would all go to the hospital. We'd pack up in the car, all the kids with dad. You know, I guess mom would stay in the hospital 2 or 3 days or something after delivering birth. You know, now I think they have drive-through delivery. I think hospitals have drive-through delivery now. You just pull up around, you know, around the side, and you know, open up the back seat car, the back seat or the back seat door of the car, and they deliver the baby, and then on you go through, you know, through the drive-through and pick up a side order of fries and a burger on the way out. But back in the day, we used to. Dad would pile us kids in the station wagon, and we'd go down to the hospital, and we'd stand out on the lawn of the hospital looking up at the, I don't know, 5th floor, 7th floor, whatever. And there we'd see mom up in a window holding a little thing, waving to us, something like that. But I remember one day they were going to go to the hospital. I don't know which one of my younger siblings it was that was born, but we were going to go to the hospital, and dad was home alone without mom, who was in the hospital, and dad was rounding up the kids. Dad was rounding up the kids to go up to. Or I don't know whether it was a trip to the hospital. Maybe it wasn't. I don't recall. But anyway, but I was down the beach playing or something like that, and I came home, and there was nobody there. I was abandoned. I was really, I mean, I was really home alone. And I sat there on the steps of my house. Just I can't remember if I was crying. Maybe I was crying, but 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 I stood there on the steps, or sat there on the steps crying, and I guess the family made it halfway to wherever they were going, and somebody said, "Dad, where's Tommy?" And he said, "Oh, he's in the back, way in the back." And I said, "No, Dad, Tommy's not in the back." And I think my dad had one of those uh-oh moments, and turned around and drove home, and there I was, sitting on the front steps. Hmm. It's always fun going down memory lane. That's one of the think about the last time that I cried. Last time that I really cried. A lot of you. I was remodeling my home at the time, and I remember waking up and just being overwhelmed with emotion, thinking about my dad, and I started to do that video, and all hell broke loose. I started crying like a baby. But I'd be curious to know, any of you that care to share, when is the last time you cried? Hmm. Hmm. You don't have to say about what. You know, we don't need to know what you cried about. It's just when was the last time you cried. But anyway, what else is on my mind? You know, I've been gone now. Today is the 27th, and the guy took occupancy. So about 3 weeks. I'm about 3 weeks into the 2 month period where the whole LA thing and visiting with Lee and the Hawaii thing and the Waikiki. That video that I did at Waikiki Beach has gotten over 1,000 views in just over a week or so. And you never know when you upload a video how well it's going to do. But boy, that video, just walking and talking down Waikiki Beach, really gets a lot of views. And that's the trick when you're doing a YouTube channel. You want to catch those videos that a lot of people are going to search. It wouldn't surprise me by this time next year, but I've done a lot in the very short time that I've been traveling, and the whole Whit Sundays thing with Michelle and all that, and now I got to figure out my game plan as far as where I'm going to go and what I'm going to do. And the tendency when you travel to a place like Australia is you want to see it all. And that's the mistake that a lot of people make, I think, when they're traveling, is they try to fit it all in. They just want to see everything because they may never come back again. And for me, those times are gone in the past. I'll still fit a lot in, but not to the extent of when I was younger. I'm going to rent a car and pick up a car and head out of here. And I head out of the Sunshine Coast after a weekend up at Noosa Head, which is about 45 minutes north of here. So I'm going to spend the weekend in Noosa Heads, Noosaheads, Noosa Heads. And then after that, I'm going to drive down the coast. And there's not too much. From here down to Sydney, there's a few spots that I want to stop. I'm not too sure about the Gold Coast. The Gold Coast is all the casinos and the high rises and the party atmosphere and all that type of stuff. I'm not too sure that I want to go to the Gold Coast, but there is a place called Surfer's Paradise. I think Oz told me about this sometime back. And Surfer's Paradise, just Google surfer. Don't you do this, Mark? Okay, I don't want your wife to catch you looking at this stuff. All right, but just Google Surfer's Paradise. No apostrophe, just Surfer's Paradise Meter Maids. Just Google that, Surfer's Paradise Meter Maids. And they've got these meter maids. They have these meter maids in these bikinis that go around and give tickets or whatever to people parking and what have you. Paul Crowley, your drone videos have been well done. Keep doing them from time to time as your travels continue. But thank you. But anyway, with the so I may stop at Surfer's Paradise on my way down the coast, and that would be a fun video to do. The meter maids in the bikinis. I'm sure that some of you out there might enjoy such a video, and that's the kind of video that would get a lot of views. But from there, it's down. I'm going to stop. I think in I'm going to stop in Byron Bay and Nelson Bay. I'm going to stop in those two spots. But ideally, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make good time and get down to the Sydney area, the North Beaches of Sydney. And I'm going to rent a place for the better part of a week because I've got to buckle down. I've got a lot of work to do, and I got to do my income taxes. I have to do my income taxes. And that in and by itself is going to take 2 to 3 days of just tedious, number crunching and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to be doing my income taxes sitting in a Starbucks, with little kids running around and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to rent myself a nice apartment or a nice condo somewhere down in the North Beaches of Sydney. And maybe I'll do a day trip. Maybe I'll do a day trip down to Bondi Beach or something like that. And uh, and that's it. And I've toyed with the idea of driving from Sydney over to Melbourne, which is an 8-hour drive. But I may just return the rental car. I may just return the rental car in Sydney and catch a flight over to Melbourne and hang out in the land of Oz for a little bit, and maybe do a side trip to to Adelaide or to Perth or to Tasmania. Again, you want to do it all. You want to just do it all, see everything. But at the end of the day, you have to find a balance between realistic expectations and and your dreams of seeing it all. So I'll do the I'll do the best. I'll do the best I can. Hmm. That reminds me of a quote that I like. You only fail when you stop trying. You only fail when you stop trying. That's a great quote that I learned years ago. The only time you fail is when you stop trying. And boy, that quote in and by itself has gotten me through a lot of a lot of struggling times. But anyway, so that's about it. The I've been watching the news about the coronavirus, and it's concerning. You look at the news and you follow the stories. And I called a friend of mine yesterday, Edit, and her husband are in Genoa, Italy, northern Italy. And Italy is just, northern Italy at least, is just completely stopped. No church services, no, people are staying home from work, uh, everything. And it's it really is a concerning, it's a concerning situation to say the very least. And, the best thing that you can do is to use caution and stay informed. That's it. Use caution and stay informed, and and not let fear get the better of you when it comes to something like that. But it's kind of like I was thinking about this yesterday. As far as going out into the world and dealing with this coronavirus and everything, it's kind of like swimming up at Whitsundays. They got all these stingers. You see these signs posted at the beach, to be careful of the stingers, the little jellyfish, the box jellyfish, and they're no bigger. They're no bigger than the tip of your finger. And to go in that water, I mean, the water is just so tempting. It's so beautiful. You've got the snorkeling, you've got the diving, you got, the wonderful swimming, the paddle boarding, all that kind of stuff. And you go out in there, aside from the danger, you still go into the water, knowing that, somewhere lurking in that water are these little things that'll get you and hurt you. And it takes away from the enjoyment. It takes away from the full enjoyment of swimming in such a beautiful spot as the Whitsunday Islands. And uh, and it's the same thing, with the coronavirus thing. It's like there's a big beautiful world out there. And you want to go out and you want to see it and you want to immerse yourself in it and you want to experience everything. And there's this little thing called a coronavirus, floating around out there. And all you can really do is just use caution, stay informed, and certainly hope for the best. But boy, I was reading up on what stocks to invest in. With the coronavirus, everybody's watching their 401ks tank. And yesterday, I thought to Google, what are some of the good stocks that you'd want to buy as a result of the situation with the coronavirus. And some of them were, one of them was Amazon, by Amazon because, people are going to be using the home delivery. So buy Amazon, buy Apple, interestingly enough, buy Apple stocks. The other one was Johnson and Johnson. Buy Johnson and Johnson stock. They were saying because their shares are probably gonna go up. But anyway, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna be rushing out. I'm not gonna be rushing out to buy stocks. I've got more important things to do with my time. But nonetheless, it's still interesting. It's still interesting to see what opportunities there are. But anyway, so that's about it, folks. I need to get on with my day, and let all you folks do the same. I'm just hoping for a really nice trip. As far as the drone video, you know, the drone the drone is a really nice tool. It's a really nice piece of equipment. It's an expensive piece of equipment, and there's quite a learning curve to using the drone. And I am just going to I'm going to use the drone very selectively as I travel, and just kind of play with it. I'm not going to pretend to be a big what is it, a cinematographer or something like that. Um, yeah, I liked what Mark said. Calling it heights and sights, or something like that, heights and sights, as opposed to the walk and talk. And boy, the opportunities with that drone are just really, really fascinating. You go online and you look at some of the beautiful, beautiful drone footage, and you just have to be cautious with it. I'm still having difficulty with the remote controller and the synchronization with the camera. And the last thing you want to do is get the drone out of sight somewhere and not have a clue, how to get it home or anything like that. And then it falls out of the sky or lands someplace where, you don't have any idea where it's at or anything. So I'm just trying to be cautious. I'm really saving the drone. I'm really saving the drone for really, really. I mean, I'd love to use the drone at the Great Ocean Road. I'd love to use the drone at Lake Wanaka. That's the one thing that I'm really looking forward to on this trip is Lake Wanaka. I don't know what it is about that spot. Somebody mentioned Lake Wanaka years ago, and I've seen pictures of it. And if you Google the images, Lake Wanaka, Wanaka, if you search that, Lake Wanaka, just look at some of the images and you'll see an overview or a mountain or a hiking trail that just looks out to the most magnificent view. And numerous times I've just visualized myself standing at that very spot. And that's gonna be cool. That's definitely gonna be one of the highlights of the trip. But in the back of my mind, as I'm traveling and experiencing all these places, in the back of my mind, way in the back of my pea-sized brain, I find myself thinking back to that beautiful pickup truck and that teardrop camper and that spot right along the Snake River out in Idaho, where I just would fall asleep to the sound of the river rushing by and the crackling of a fire and the stars overhead. That is that's always in the back of my mind. All the things I'm doing now and going and experiencing, they're all well and good. But boy, to be back sitting at that campfire under a blanket of stars with the sound of the river going past and what have you. That's heaven on earth. So, in due time, and Lord willing. So, all right, time to get on with my day. Hope everybody out there is doing well. All right, take good care.